Hi, welcome back to another episode here on Creepy with Coffee. I'm Kim, your storyteller. Well, for tonight's story, it happened in a place that we all know has plenty of other stories come from this particular place. Well, I'm going to tell you another personal experience of mine from this particular story after I narrate you the story that I got for you today. Today's story comes from a place that we all know. That is school. Also today, I want to say a special thanks to Tan Sha Lon for giving me a super thanks. I appreciate it a lot. And once again, thank you very much to Tan Sha Lon. Like usual, before we get into our story, if you've yet to do so, please help me subscribe to the channel. And now, let's get into the story.
This is Creepy with Coffee.
This happened not too long ago, back when my classmates and I were in the middle of preparing for our SPM exams. SPM stands for Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, which is a public examination in Malaysia. Our class teacher, Miss Sophia, decided to hold extra night classes at school to help us focus on revision. If you have ever been in school at night, you know it feels completely different. The long corridors were dim and silent. Only our classroom on the second floor was brightly lit. Outside, the field and the trees were swallowed by darkness. We started around 8 p.m. That night, by the time it reached 9:30 p.m., I began feeling uncomfortable. After sitting for so long, I really needed to go to the toilet. I looked around. No one seemed to be off their seat. No one wanted to go alone. Our block's toilet was a little far from my class. So I called out to my best friend, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, can you follow me to the toilet? I really can't hold it anymore. Cannot tahan lah, I whispered. Sarah hesitated, but nodded. Fine, let's go, but hurry, okay? I don't like being outside this late. We walked side by side along the long corridor. The sounds of our footsteps echoed in the stillness. We jogged around a little bit, trying to distract ourselves from the eerie atmosphere. When we reached the toilet, Sarah waited near the sinks while I went into one of the cubicles. The girls' toilet had 3 cubicles, all of them quiet. Meaning that there was no one else. I quickly finished my business. As soon as I stepped out and headed to the sink where my friend Sarah was standing to wash my hands, she was right next to me. That's when the both of us heard it. The sound came from one of the cubicles behind us, slow but clear, like someone knocking from inside. Sarah and I froze. We stared at each other. Her face instantly turned pale. What was that? I whispered. The sound repeated, this time softer, like it came from the last cubicle at the end. Curiosity overcame fear. We took a few careful steps toward the cubicles. The third door, the one that the sound came from, was shut tight. I placed my hand on the knob. I asked, voice trembling, is anyone inside? No answer. Slowly, I pushed the door open. The cubicle was empty. We shined our phone lights inside. Nothing. No one. No signs of anyone hiding. No reason for the knocking sound. It definitely wasn't the pipes. It sounded too much like fingers tapping on wood. Before I could process anything, Sarah suddenly grabbed my arm hard. Her grip was tight and her face was stiff, like she was holding back tears. Let's go, now. Her voice shook, but her tone was firm. She didn't wait for me at all and practically dragged me out of the toilet. on the way back to the class, Sarah said nothing. She kept her head down and wouldn't even look at me. Her fear was written all over her face. When we reached the classroom, she immediately sat down at her desk and hid her face behind her books. She didn't revise anymore. Every time I tried asking her what she saw, she just gestured for me to stay quiet. When the night class ended and we walked out together, Sarah came close to me and said, "Dina, don't go home yet, please. Please wait with me until my father arrives," she said with red, trembling eyes. Of course, I stayed with her at the gate until her father arrived. The whole time, she kept completely silent. The moment she saw her dad's car, she ran towards him and got inside without looking back. Until the next day. During recess, I finally confronted her. "Sarah, please, just tell me what you saw last night. Why were you so terrified?" She took a deep breath and looked around, make sure no one else was listening. "When we were standing in front of the cubicles," she whispered, "while you were checking the door, I saw a hand." My heart dropped. "What hand?" "A hand came out from under the last cubicle door, the one we checked, not the one you opened, from the bottom of the door on the floor." She swallowed hard. The hand, it was huge, black. Her fingers were long and thin, like claws. It reached out towards us, and when you turned the doorknob, it quickly pulled itself back inside. Goosebumps crawled up my arms. So the knocking wasn't pipes. Something was inside. Something that wanted our attention or wanted to reach us. No wonder Sarah dragged me away so quickly. She saw it trying to touch us. Thankfully, after that night class incident, nothing else happened to us. Maybe that inhabitant only wanted to warn us or remind us that we weren't alone in the block after Maghrib. But one thing for sure, Sarah and I have never gone to the school toilet at night ever again. Well, I'm sure you guys also have plenty of stories similar to this particular story in school, especially the toilet. Well, similar to mine, I also have a personal experience happen in my school's toilet. But this happened again back when I was in primary school, so that was a long time ago. But I still remember what I saw. This is what happened. I came from a mission school, so my school toilet was actually kind of like two small blocks, but they were just next to each other, separated, but they were next to each other. One was for the boys and one for the female, the girls. So this happened actually during the recess time. I remember one of my female classmates actually came back to the classroom saying something was wrong in the female toilet. Well, obviously the boys and practically everybody else, the classmates, were noisy and everyone kind of like kepo, as in everybody wanted to know what happened. Some of the boys actually overheard that she saw something in the toilet. This is not during nighttime, this is actually during the daytime. So our recess is actually around 10 in the morning. So that was what happened. So she actually brought a teacher and also a gardener. I still remember the gardener. So that particular gardener, or we call him uncle, that uncle is not just a gardener. He's actually the fix-it-all man. So everything that happened in school, broken door, clock, toilet or drain, that uncle will fix it. So a teacher, that uncle, and some of us actually went to the toilet to see what is wrong. Some of the boys actually overheard saying that she saw somebody else, but not a teacher, not a student, in the female toilet. Everybody went, right? Everybody went. I mean, not the entire school, but some of us from the class. As we reached the toilet, obviously the boys were asked not to step in because after all, it's female toilet. And in that toilet, there's actually just a few cubicles. if I remember correctly, it was just 3, 4. I came from a school that is actually not huge. After all, I came from a very small rural place, so toilet is not exactly huge. So as the teacher, the uncle and one of the classmates, or some of them actually, the female, especially the girls, were standing in front of the toilet's cubicle where my classmate claimed something is wrong. I actually took a sneak behind the toilet. So what happened was, as the adult and also the classmate who was claiming that something was wrong, they actually tried to open one of the door from the front. The door was actually locked, as in somebody is inside, right? I do not know what's in my mind, or it's just too busybody, so I wanted to know what is inside. So some of the boys actually went behind the toilet, so it's not far. Toilet is small, right? So it's not far. So we went to the back, and I remember behind the toilet there is actually like cabinets built so that the uncle can store stuff. I actually climbed the cabinet so that I can actually see inside the toilet. So behind the toilet, on top, which is kind of like, if you stand just behind the toilet, you can see it's actually just wall. But on top, there is actually kind of like an opening. But it's kind of like with cover, but the cover is, how do I explain it? It's with holes, but you can still see inside. Ventilation, right? So you can see whatever that is inside. So I actually climbed the cabinet and peep inside. Again, I am a taller boy since I was very young. So when I climb the cabinet, I actually can see inside clearly. So I can see whoever or whatever that is inside the toilet. When I climb, mind you, this is 10 in the morning, so it's bright. I can see whatever is inside. When I climb, and from my position, I can actually see there is a door inside the toilet, right? The door looked like any other normal door that you see back in the 90s. Something that looked like a cloth door. It's not plastic, but it's made of cotton or wool or something like that. I remember that the door doesn't look very creepy, but the whole thing, the whole door, it's white in color. It has a dress and it has like long braided hair. I remember the hair is of not black color. It's like something of a brown or dark brown color. So that is what I remember of the door. The weird thing here is, as I climb the cabinet, I can actually hear woman crying. Not hard, as in it's soft, but you can hear somebody crying. So in my head, when I climb it, I was expecting someone to be inside that locked cubicle. Probably I'm going to see somebody that has mental issue or mental illness. Probably is just crying, sobbing inside the toilet. That was what I was expecting. I did not think about ghosts, or I did not think about anything like that. As I climb, I can still hear the crying. And that is when I saw the door. That is when it hits me, and I actually thought to myself, wait, the door cannot be making noise like this. Mind you, the sound of people crying, it's not as if it's from a recorded. You know, some doors have recorded plays inside of them whereby when you press it, they will make sound, them talking or something like that, right? It doesn't sound like it's recorded from a recorder and it plays after you press it or whatnot, but it sounded exactly like somebody is inside the toilet and crying. That is when it hits me, saying that something is wrong. Something it's not natural about this. I got down, and some of other classmates of mine actually climbed up and have a look as well. I don't know what I saw because we actually didn't talk about this after that. So we got down. Then the moment we ran up front, because I wanted to know what they saw after they opened the door. So when I ran up front, the uncle actually managed to force open the door because it was locked, right? When the uncle opened the door, although boys were told not to step in, well, some of us did, boys, right? As I stood in front of the cubicle was empty. There was nothing inside, apart from the toilet. The door that I saw behind when I was climbing the cabinet was not in the toilet anymore. There is practically nothing in the toilet. Well, if you have your own story from school, drop it down below in the comment or send me an email. But if you wanted me to tell you any other story from any particular topic, comment down below as well. Cemetery, hospital, I'm sure I've covered a lot, but if you have any topic that you wanted me to search for a story and tell you guys that story, leave it down below in the comment. Once again, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next one. For now, good night.